playing with Wrexham, it's a four-tier team now. Did he speak to you at all when he was making that decision, and what do you make of that? Has anyone ever played for Ireland that plays in a four-tier team?
Yeah, I think in the long term it's not ideal, but certainly James was performing. I mean, the way he did speak to me, he said his club situation, he was in a predicament and he needed to move, and this is what he had accepted, and ultimately he got man of the match albeit against Gibraltar in the last game. So he had performed well in the last window, and he was going to be playing. Whether he was going to be playing 3 or 4 games in League One or 3 or 4 games in League Two, I didn't think as a significant difference in the short term for this window. Subsequently, he has been injured. He has been injured and played the other night. So we have named 3 left wing backs in the squad. So we'll see.
And it's been a busy week for the FAI with the news of the departure of Vera Pauw from the women's national team. Ultimately, in the end, Vera seemed to lose the dressing room. Do you think it's right for player power to be a factor in why she wasn't kept on in the end?
I don't know. Listen, Vera's legacy will be that Ireland qualified for the World Cup, and it was a great achievement, and she did a terrific job as Ireland manager in her time, and a good relationship with her. Spoke to her after when she came back from Australia, and she actually rang me this morning, and I spoke to her this morning. So it obviously wasn't the ending that she wanted, but she can be very proud of her achievements as manager of the women's team, and she did a terrific job.
Gavin? Hi Stephen. Just on the players that haven't made it, first of all, Callum O'Dowd, Andrew Bamadelli and Troy Parrott, are they injuries or are they ear selection?
I think Troy Parrott had a groin operation, so he's only been training less than a week, and in that week he's been to Holland and obviously got a move to Excelsior on loan, which could be a really good move for him. He's excited by it. I know he came on for a few minutes the other day, but he's only been back training literally a few days, so it's too early for Troy here. Callum O'Dowd, unfortunately, yes, they had a scan and he's out for 4 weeks with tendon tear in his groin, so that was unfortunate. And Andrew's fully fit, and I rate Andrew so highly. He's out in Norwich team at the moment, and all the other players are playing someone in the Premier League in that position. And Shane Duffy's obviously come back in, having been in the first team at Norwich.
Yeah, Aaron Connolly is also back. Can you talk us through your thought process there?
Yeah, listen, Ireland's not really. It's unusual to pick someone who's probably not starting. He's not been starting for Hull, but everyone knows it's not been a straightforward journey for Aaron, but he showed great humility and great determination going back to the under-21 team, playing in Israel and playing in the playoffs. And I think he's got a manager there in Liam Senior who he has a very good relationship with, and it's been very good for him. A very good manager, and I think they have a good way of playing, and he has a relationship with him from his previous club, and he's come on. His 2 goals against Blackburn were outstanding, real good goals. So he hasn't been starting for Hull, so it's not realistic for him to start for us. But he's shown his capacity to come on and get goals in the last couple of weeks. So that's why he's included.
And just lastly, on Festi is in as well. Can he come straight in and play against France? Do you think? Because you're going to be short of options back in.
Yeah, we are in that position. Orthodox players in that position for sure. He's in contention, and also he can play. Ultimately, we always seen Festi as an attacking player who's sort of been relocated to right wing back, and so obviously he played 58 minutes against Juventus, and he was left out. He came on. He made a late introduction in the second game, so it's it's an interesting journey for him going to Udinese, different culture, new language, tactically different challenges. He's a big learning curve for him, one that he's trying to embrace and trying to improve all the time, because he has the capacity for improvement, and he has some very good attributes.
Further questions in the last section, raise your hand please. Raf, please, thank you.
Stephen, just on the timeline of Matt Doherty's the extension of the ban, as you said outside, it was disappointing, but the red card was in June. I think the meeting in terms of the disciplinary thing from UEFA, it's July, and it's only this week that was communicated, at least publicly, that there was going to be the extra game, which was going to be the France game. So when did you get an indication that this second game was on the cards?
Yeah, no, to be honest, I was constantly on to the operations team in over the last while to say, we need, I'm sure it's only one match. To me it's a yellow card. Looking at the video evidence, he's just gone over and nudged him with his shoulder. The players hit the deck, like he's absolutely collapsed on the deck. And other players have actually grabbed Matt, and he could have collapsed on the deck, and the Greek player would have been sent off. But he didn't do that, and there was no need for the player to hit the deck, number one. And the second thing was that how it's 2 matches, I'll just never know. But I asked the FAI to contact UEFA. They delay. There was no subsequent meeting. Ultimately, we heard a couple of weeks ago we got the two matches. They had a meeting. We had a meeting with our legal team. We had a few meetings, load of video evidence. We viewed it, and under the regulations, under the rules, they felt there wasn't a case for an appeal, because they clamped down on the fact that the 2 sets of players were involved after that exacerbates the actual incident, and that's what led to the 2 matches.
Yeah, and just one last one for myself. So Ryan Manning as well back in the squad, and how do you feel he's settling in at Southampton, especially now coming into a squad where there's a lot of competition in terms of left wing back, as James McClean was mentioned earlier, and Stevens is back in the picture as well.
Yeah, it's obviously he's a good relationship with his manager. Swansea who's taken him there. It's good, they've had a very, very strong squad, Southampton. I've been to see them obviously, and they have a lot of good players, and he's having to play in a different position really this year than that. He's not really getting forward. He has his playing in a building in a tree, so they isolate the winger one-on-one. They let the winger go one-on-one against the fullback, and he doesn't support the play, so he just rotates possession, but he gets a lot of touches and never gives it away. But probably he's had to adapt to that style, if you like, an occasional underlap. But so he's obviously a very good footballer, having been really, when he played with the under-21 team previously, he had been a number 10. He'd been a number 10, so he is technically a good player.